Last week we took a road trip from here in Zihua to Michoacan to see the butterflies. Took my parents, and want to show a little video from that trek as well as give some information on how we did it and the costs if you're thinking about doing it yourself. All right, it was a good time, and enjoy. Thanks. I'm sure I'm going to butcher some names here, so bear with me. There are three main monarch butterfly sanctuaries that are driving distance from Zihuatanejo: the Sanctuary Sierra Chinkua, the Biosphere Reserve in El Rosario, and the Sengio Sanctuary. All of the sanctuaries are about 500 kilometers and 6.5 hours from Zihua. We did not consider the Sengio Sanctuary on this trip and ultimately decided to visit Chinkua over El Rosario. The butterfly season is generally November to March, with peak season starting in mid-January. The warmer it is, the better likelihood you will see the monarch butterflies moving. We drove almost the entire way from Zihuatanejo to the sanctuary, spending one night in Angangueo, a town located about 20 minutes from both sanctuaries. It was a nice little town, but dinner options were limited, and it was freezing at night. Our hotel cost 1,000 pesos per room per night, but had no heat in the rooms. We wore all of our clothes to bed. Finding the town and the sanctuary wasn't too difficult. As we closed in on the location, there was a bit of road signage directing you along the way. Of the three sanctuaries, El Rosario is much bigger with 3 times as many butterflies as Chinkua, but Chinkua doesn't have as much elevation and hiking and is less touristy. The Fitbit said only 165 feet of total elevation was gained during our hike, but it seemed a lot more than that. The Chinkua Sanctuary is located at around 8,000 or 9,000 feet above sea level, I believe. Our friends visited El Rosario with a tour group last month and did not see a butterfly. We almost decided to change our plans and visit El Rosario too. When checking out of our hotel to head to the sanctuary, the hotel staff tried to convince us that El Rosario was the better option. We're happy that we stuck with our original plan. We left the hotel at 9 a.m. and after our quick breakfast on the go, we arrived at the sanctuary at 10 a.m. We paid 60 pesos for parking, plus 80 pesos each for our tickets. A young man at the entrance offered us a free pamphlet map for whatever tip we'd like to give. The pamphlet had clearly been passed around a tour bus a dozen times, but we still gave him 10 pesos and ended up leaving it behind for someone else to use or for it to be offered up again. We were one of the first cars in the parking lot, and when we left, I was surprised that we were still one of only a couple of cars in the parking lot. Outside the area where you buy tickets, there were a handful of guides that you could hire. None of these guys on the day we were there spoke English, so we went at it alone. The trail is fairly simple to navigate. Early in the hike, you'll see horses available for rent, and this will cut your hiking time in half. We walked it, and the entire hike one way took about 45 minutes to an hour. You'll want to wear good walking shoes, and for most of the morning, it was quite chilly. If everything works out, then at the end of the hike, you'll be able to see the trees in the distance with thousands or tens of thousands of butterflies on them. As we neared this area and the temperature started rising, we began to see a butterfly here or there before we saw hundreds and thousands of butterflies around us. We felt very fortunate that we were able to see the monarch butterflies. It was pretty cool to see so many butterflies, and it was more enjoyable in that there were only a handful of people around. I think it's definitely something that is better seen in person than on video, but here's some video anyway. These butterflies can travel almost 5,000 miles to winter in Mexico. It's pretty incredible. The Chinkua Sanctuary had plenty of restaurants and vendors selling merchandise. When we finished our hike, we were swarmed by children offering to dust off our shoes for tips. We really liked that Chinkua was not busy at all. I think El Rosario is the more popular destination where most of the bus tours go. We didn't see a single bus the 4.5 hours we were there. Our lunch was only about 500 pesos for 4 people, and after we ate lunch, Ali decided to pay 100 pesos to ride the zip line. We briefly considered making a run to El Rosario before ultimately deciding to hit the road and spend a couple nights in Morelia. I'm positive a trip to El Rosario will happen in the future. Thanks for watching.